Why do we do it? Appealing to the target market growth. This market is now upwards of 50% of the general population. These people want healthier products, and they want companies that have values. The numbers are out there. Year to year to year to year to year, year after year, we see these numbers of people who are interested in this sort of thing, people who are willing to pay more for this sort of thing. And the market continues to grow. Psychographics are behaviors and attitudes, what people think, what people say. And demographics are things like age, income, stuff like that. We're going to go through a couple of profiles of customers. And maybe you can see if your customers are like this. And if they are, perhaps sustainability is something that you would benefit from. Conservation and sustainability of resources is another one. What that simply means is if you're in the business of paper, you might want to plant trees, right? Because you might run out of trees, and then what do you have for your business? So business people actually need to sustain resources so they can stay in business. That makes sense? Makes sense to a lot of people. Efficiency and cost reduction, reducing waste, reducing energy consumption, that sort of thing. Making things more efficient goes right to the bottom line, increases profits. A third reason. Being different from the other salons. Having a competitive advantage. This is a huge reason for going green. It's something else you can say besides, yeah, we're doing pretty much the same thing everybody else is doing, except we have really great service. Everybody says that. We've got a really great store. Well, everybody says that. We retail really great products. Well, everybody says that. How are you going to be meaningfully different? How are you going to have a competitive advantage? There's a lot of choice out there. So this is a way to achieve some point of differentiation and competitive advantage if you're doing it for real. Competition. If your competition is doing it, you've got to be doing it too, especially if it's expected. And increasingly it is expected. Supply chain pressures. I mentioned Walmart. Walmart is forcing everyone in their supply chain to reduce packaging by 10%. And they have the power to do it. So there are supply chain pressures to become more sustainable. Other stakeholder demands. Activist shareholders like George Soros. Green consumers, which I just mentioned. Non-government organizations, the financial sector, government, media, etc. All stakeholders. Adapting to regulations. There's more regulations coming every day. And not being sustainable is being seen as risky increasingly. For investors, when you're dealing with toxic compounds and things like that, you've got to manage the spills, you've got to pay compliance fees. Being sustainable actually lowers your risk. Complying with laws lowers your risk, and adapting to regulations before they happen also lowers your risk. Do you think it's more expensive to adapt to regulations? I don't know. A natural ingredient is something that's found in nature. It's not synthetically derived, nor is it synthetically processed. So nothing synthetic is introduced in the processing. There's no common definition of natural. There's no government regulations. It's one of the most, you want to talk about greenwashing, it's one of the most abused terms out there in the world. But it doesn't mean that it has no meaning. It does have meaning. So that's what we're talking about. The industry is now working on a definition for natural. We've been doing it for 5 years. So good luck, right? It'll take a while. But we're trying to define the terms so we understand it. A natural product should have 95+% natural ingredients. And the reason is because that's what the organic regulations are. And so when there's going to be labeling requirements for natural products, to call it natural, it's going to have 95+%. Less than 95%, you're going to be able to say made with natural ingredients, but you're not going to be able to position the product as natural. 100% natural means 100% natural. All right? So that's what we mean by natural. It is not regulated and not defined. Organic is regulated and defined. Sure, there are a few problems, but the industry worked for 15 years to get this stuff into regulation. And we now have the National Organic Program, and you can go to the USDA website to see that. That's the USDA seal, so you want to look for that seal, and that means that the product is 95% organic. Very difficult, by the way, in personal care. And the availability is very slim. It's getting more so literally every day, exponentially. So these are some of the things that make organic. A product, in order for a product to be organic, it also has to be natural. Does that make sense? But a natural product doesn't have to be organic. Natural is 10 times the size of organic. Organic is actually a very small, probably 10%. Yeah, 10% of the whole natural picture. Does that make sense to everybody? It's very confusing. It's confusing to me too. Certified by third party, no synthetic pesticides or herbicides, no genetically modified organisms, no irradiation of foods. A lot of people don't realize we irradiate foods, blast it with radiation to get rid of some of the stuff. Access to pasture, meaning the cattle actually have to be walking around, not in a pen. Organically grown feed, So the feed has to be organically grown. The land must be free of synthetic applications for 3 years. So no synthetic fertilizers, pesticides, or herbicides for 3 years. Then you can get your land as certified organic. Detailed farm systems plans. And what's sewage sludge? Anybody know what that is? That's what they use as fertilizer. So that's what's on. The reason why you have to wash your produce is because they have sewage sludge in addition to the pesticides and herbicides on the produce. This is what's driving the organic industry. People realize this and they go, whoa, we don't want that. They actually fought for 4 years. They wanted sewage sludge in, and we wouldn't budge on that. So, kind of grody. I mean, human waste. I do. I do. Just wash everything. Wash everything twice. You can look this up. This is not conspiracy theories. This stuff is fact. It's not.